Welcome back to America's Weather Now on Fox Weather. We're finding out more details about last week's deadly tornadoes that tore through central Alabama. The National Weather Service has now confirmed that 5 tornadoes touched down there. This is per the National Weather Service office in Birmingham. You're seeing the aftermath of those tornadoes that moved through. This was on February 3rd, last Thursday, as we tracked these tornadoes. Very powerful storms on the warm side of that strong storm system that was moving across the country. Here is the latest information from the National Weather Service. Again, 5 confirmed tornadoes, of which 2 were EF2 tornadoes. These are very, very large tornadoes that we're talking about here. And sadly, there was one fatality, a woman that was killed in Sawyerville, Alabama. 8 more injuries that occurred. Thankfully, those folks have been able to recover. You're seeing some of that video there. 5 confirmed tornadoes in Alabama, as I mentioned, on February the 3rd. Keep in mind, the monthly average, the entire month of February, is just 3 tornadoes for the whole state of Alabama. So just 8 days in, we've already seen 5 confirmed tornadoes there. You see where they were. There is Birmingham. Off to the south and west, we had 3 of those tornadoes. This was a line of storms, a broken line of storms. Some of those storms started displaying some rotation. Then we got the very strong signatures that came back to radar. We had tornado debris signatures indicating that debris had been lofted high up into the atmosphere, indicating that we were dealing with some of these strong thunderstorms that were just off to the south of the interstate. There is Sawyerville, Alabama, sadly, where the fatality took place. We had a couple of tornadoes there, the strongest of the bunch, and then much farther off to the east, to the north of Montgomery, 2 confirmed tornadoes. Those were EF0s. But again, overall, this was an outbreak of severe weather across Alabama that we don't typically see very often. In the month of February, we're just a little bit over a week in. We're already seeing these numbers in excess of the monthly average.
I'm Amy Freeze. Welcome to Fox Weather's YouTube page. We have more great videos on the way, so make sure to subscribe to stay updated on all things weather.